UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev recently found himself at the center of controversy during a high-profile visit to Georgia. Initially welcomed with immense admiration and hospitality, his trip took an unexpected turn following a politically charged interview that left many Georgian fans feeling betrayed. Chimaev, who hails from Chechnya, a region within the Caucasus, was in Georgia to visit his close friend and fellow MMA fighter Guram Kutateladze. Upon arrival, Chimaev was greeted with overwhelming support from fans. He was treated with reverence across the country, cheered by supporters wherever he went, and even received an extravagant gift, a Ferrari, as a token of appreciation from some Georgians. For the most part, Chimaev's visit was smooth and celebratory. He had previously spoken highly of Georgia, once saying, "If the Caucasus has a heart, it's Georgia," highlighting the cultural and regional bonds that unite many in the Caucasus. His remarks earned him widespread respect not only as a fighter, but also as a figure of unity in a region with deep historical complexities. However, the atmosphere shifted dramatically during a media interview when a Georgian journalist asked Chimaev a highly sensitive and politically loaded question: "Do you believe Abkhazia is a part of Georgia?" To provide context, Abkhazia is a region that has been at the center of a long-standing territorial dispute between Georgia and Russia. In 2008, Russia invaded Georgia and occupied Abkhazia, an act widely condemned by the international community. While nearly the entire world recognizes Abkhazia as part of Georgia, Russia considers it an independent entity. This occupation remains one of the most painful and unresolved chapters in modern Georgian history. Given Chimaev's ties to Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, who maintains close relations with Russian President Vladimir Putin, the question placed him in an extremely delicate position. Rather than reaffirming his previous sentiments of unity or acknowledging Georgia's claim over Abkhazia, Chimaev avoided providing a clear answer. Despite the journalist's repeated attempts to get a definitive response, Chimaev sidestepped the issue, offering vague and non-committal remarks. This evasiveness sparked an immediate backlash. Many Georgian MMA fans who had just celebrated Chimaev with open arms felt deeply disappointed and even betrayed. To them, his unwillingness to support Georgia's territorial integrity, especially after receiving such a warm welcome, came across as disrespectful and politically tone-deaf. The reaction was swift and passionate across social media, with fans accusing him of failing to stand by the very values of brotherhood and unity he had previously promoted. While some defended Chimaev's silence as an attempt to stay apolitical in a complex situation, others saw it as an unacceptable omission, particularly from someone who had enjoyed Georgia's hospitality and admiration. This incident underscores the deep sensitivities surrounding regional geopolitics and how public figures, especially those with large platforms, are often expected to navigate them carefully. For Khamzat Chimaev, a visit that began with celebration ended in controversy, a reminder that in the Caucasus, politics and identity are never far from the surface. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. In the world of professional sports, particularly in MMA, athletes often steer clear of controversial political topics. But Topuria and fellow Georgian fighter Magomed Dvalishvili have taken a different path, choosing to use their platforms to speak out, unfiltered and unafraid, especially when it comes to Russian politics and historical conflicts in the Caucasus region. Topuria, known not only for his undefeated record, but also for his outspoken nature, recently made headlines following a fiery appearance on the PBD podcast, where he launched a scathing critique of the Russian government. While he made it clear that his comments weren't directed at everyday Russian citizens, his accusations were strong and emotionally charged. Drawing from personal experience, Topuria recalled the events of 2008, when Russia invaded Georgia and occupied regions such as Abkhazia and South Ossetia, an event still considered one of the darkest moments in modern Georgian history. "In 2008, I was living in Georgia. I saw what they were doing to my people," he said. "Russians, dangerous people. You can't trust them, not the people, but the politicians." His frustration went deeper than historical grievances. Topuria accused the Russian state of exploiting ethnic minorities within its borders, particularly Chechens and Dagestanis, by sending them to the front lines of wars, while shielding ethnic Russians from direct involvement. "The first people they send to war are the Chechens, Dagestanis, and others. You won't see ethnic Russians on the front lines," he stated. "They use those groups like cannon fodder, they call them Russians, but it's all manipulation." This bold statement resonated with many who have long criticized the Kremlin's use of marginalized populations for its military campaigns. While Topuria was careful to distinguish between the Russian government and its citizens, his comments still sparked heated debates online, particularly among fans from across the former Soviet Union. This isn't the first time Topuria has spoken out on political issues. Alongside Magomed Dvalishvili, he has previously criticized both Vladimir Putin and even Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin, who remains a controversial figure in the region. Their vocal stance has gained admiration from many in Georgia and beyond, but also sparked backlash from others who believe politics should stay out of sport. Topuria's comments arrive at a tense moment in the MMA world, especially after fellow fighter Khamzat Chimaev, who has ties to Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, dodged a journalist's question about Abkhazia during a recent visit to Georgia. Chimaev's lack of a direct answer drew significant backlash from Georgian fans, many of whom had previously welcomed him warmly. Looking ahead, the stakes remain high for both fighters. Topuria is slated to face Paddy Pimblett in early 2026 in what is expected to be a blockbuster bout. Meanwhile, Chimaev is preparing for a middleweight title defense against either Nassourdine Imavov or Dricus du Plessis, also likely in 2026. As politics and sport continue to intersect in the MMA world, fighters like Topuria are proving that their voices outside the cage can be just as powerful as their punches inside it. Move on to another news. UFC lightweight contender and former champion Charles Oliveira has had enough of fighters using his name for clout ahead of UFC Rio. In a fiery video posted this morning, Oliveira addressed the growing number of athletes calling him out on social media following the cancellation of his fight against Mateusz Gamrot, formerly Rafael Fiziev, who was initially linked to the bout before being ruled out due to injury. Oliveira, clearly frustrated by the situation, accused his fellow fighters of clout chasing and pretending to accept fights for publicity rather than genuinely stepping up. "Everyone already knows that my fight against Fiziev is off," Oliveira said. "But don't fall for what these fighters are saying online. They act like they're in, like they're ready to go. But when the UFC actually calls them, they all start making excuses. Oh my weight, oh I can't make it in time, it's just a game to get hype off my name, and it's embarrassing." The Brazilian star didn't hold back in his criticism, adding that while many raise their hands in public as willing replacements, few follow through privately when the UFC reaches out. Some act tough online, but when it's time to actually answer the phone and sign the contract, suddenly it's, "Oh my belly hurts," or "I broke my finger," or "I hurt my hand," he continued. It's all nonsense. Oliveira emphasized that he still wants to compete at UFC Rio and is ready to fight. He made it clear that it wasn't for lack of effort on his part. "I asked for this fight, I was ready, my opponent got hurt. Then all of a sudden, you've got a line of fighters offering themselves as replacements, but when it's time to actually show up, crickets." He called on fighters to stop using his name to gain media attention and instead focus on real opportunities. "Stop this embarrassing gimmick to try to get fame. Do something else. Don't say you want to fight me when you know it's not true." The statement quickly went viral in the MMA community and drew responses from several fighters, most notably Mateusz Gamrot, who was previously linked to Oliveira as a potential opponent before UFC Rio. Taking to Twitter, Gamrot responded respectfully but directly, "I respect Charles Oliveira, but I told the UFC straight, I want to face you in your own house. This will be a true masterclass on the ground, and I'm ready to prove it." Gamrot's comment sparked speculation about whether the UFC might move quickly to finalize a matchup between the two for the Rio card, especially given Oliveira's desire to remain active and the promotion's interest in keeping a Brazilian icon on home turf. With UFC Rio fast approaching, the question remains, who if anyone will step in to face Charles Oliveira, and will fans finally get the showdown they've been hoping for? Let us know in the comments. Would you like to see Gamrot step in and face Du Bronx in Brazil? Move on to another news, as the highly anticipated rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev approaches at UFC 320, Pereira has sent a clear and confident message to his opponent. He's not just ready, he's evolved. In a recent statement, Pereira revealed that he's been diligently studying their first fight, analyzing every detail, and identifying specific mistakes he's now working to correct in training camp. According to the reigning light heavyweight champion, what fans see on social media is only a small fraction of what he's truly preparing. "What you see online, that's only about 5% of what I'm actually doing," Pereira said. "Don't be fooled by the highlights." Pereira is well known for his devastating striking and disciplined fight IQ, but some critics have reignited an old narrative, questioning his focus due to his traveling schedule and side ventures outside the octagon. However, the Brazilian knockout artist was quick to shut down those doubts. He explained that his most recent trip which raised eyebrows among some fans and analysts, took place a full 7 weeks before fight night. He emphasized that it wasn't a vacation, nor was it a distraction, everything was planned, Pereira stated. I laid out a full 6-week training camp, and there have been no breaks, just structured preparation. According to Pereira, his camp has been split into phases. He began his strength and conditioning regimen in Brazil, and once that portion was complete, he returned to continue his technical fight preparation without missing a beat. There were no delays. I trained in Brazil with purpose and transitioned straight back into camp. There is no such thing as off time when I'm this close to a fight, he said. Now just weeks away from UFC 320, Pereira appears laser-focused, driven not just by the goal of defending his title, but also by the desire to show the evolution of his game. He believes the version of himself that fans and critics saw in the first fight is only a shadow of what's to come. That was just the beginning, Pereira warned. The things I'm working on now, you haven't seen them yet. Their first encounter was a tactical battle, with both fighters having their moments. While Pereira walked away with the victory, he's leaving nothing to chance in the rematch. This time, he's aiming not just to win, but to dominate. The rematch offers Pereira an opportunity to solidify his reign in the light heavyweight division and silence any lingering doubt about his commitment or capabilities. With UFC 320 looming, the narrative has shifted. Alex Pereira isn't just preparing, he's recalibrating, refining, and warning Ankalaev that the man standing across from him in the octagon this time will be far more dangerous than the one he faced before. Fight fans are in for a war, and if Pereira's words are anything to go by, Magomed Ankalaev better be ready for a whole new level of violence. Move on to another news. Dvalishvili has quietly built one of the most impressive resumes in the UFC bantamweight division, and as he gears up to face Cory Sandhagen at UFC 320 on October 4th, the Georgian powerhouse is showing no signs of letting success get to his head. Despite being on an incredible winning streak since 2018, including victories over elite names like Petr Yan, Marlon Moraes, and most recently Umar Nurmagomedov, Dvalishvili only recently began receiving the widespread respect he's long deserved. His stock skyrocketed after he became the first man to defeat the previously unbeaten Nurmagomedov, and he followed it up with a submission win over Sean O'Malley in their rematch this past summer. Currently sitting at #3 in the UFC pound-for-pound rankings, Dvalishvili is on the cusp of a title shot, but he refuses to let the accolades soften his hunger. In a recent interview with MMA Junkie, the 33-year-old explained that despite his growing popularity and recognition, he's more focused than ever. I'm definitely not comfortable, Dvalishvili said. Every fight in the UFC is important to me. Whether I was fighting on the undercard, fighting my first fight, or fighting for the belt, I treat them all the same. Same motivation, same goals. His mentality remains grounded, a rare trait among fighters climbing the ranks in such a high-stakes division. Dvalishvili acknowledged that with increased success comes a new set of challenges, not inside the octagon but outside it. When you're winning, people start knowing you more. You have more distractions, more attention, more responsibilities. You have your family, friends, teammates, coaches, even neighbors. Everyone wants your time. It's tough, but I'm doing my best to manage it and stay focused on what really matters, fighting. Some critics have warned that this kind of exposure can lead to complacency, a common theme among former champions who lost their edge after reaching the top. But Dvalishvili doesn't seem to be falling into that trap. If anything, he seems to be using the pressure to fuel his fire. Many fans have criticized him in the past for not finishing fights, despite his dominant performances, but his recent finishes have begun to silence that narrative, and with a stylistic clash against Sandhagen looming, Merab sees another chance to prove doubters wrong. This won't be an easy fight, he admitted. Cory is one of the best, but I'm focused, and I'm ready for a war. Dvalishvili also revealed his intention to stay extremely active in 2025. If he gets past Sandhagen in October, he hopes to return before the year ends, with a specific name in mind. I already told the UFC I want to fight 4 times this year if possible, he said. If I beat Cory, I want to come back quick and fight Petr Yan. He's the most deserving guy out there. That's a fight fans want to see, and so do I. With a dominant mindset, an ironclad work ethic, and a growing fan base, Merab Dvalishvili isn't just preparing for Sandhagen, he's preparing to take over the division. Move on to another news. Former UFC champion BJ Penn is once again making headlines, but unfortunately not for his achievements in the cage. Instead, growing concerns are surrounding the MMA legend's mental health after a troubling video surfaced on his Instagram that left fans, friends, and the broader MMA community deeply unsettled. Penn, a Hall of Famer and one of the most iconic figures in mixed martial arts, has faced a series of personal and legal issues in recent years. He's been arrested multiple times, and rumors regarding his declining mental well-being have circulated widely. Now, those concerns have resurfaced with greater urgency following a bizarre and confusing video he recently posted online. In the clip, Penn appears to be wearing a wig and glasses while interacting with a group he refers to as the Sabotage Squad. The footage showed him behaving erratically, repeating phrases like "stand in line" and "do you want that key? The only way out is in," prompting fans to speculate about his current state of mind. The video, stripped of any context, left viewers questioning whether Penn was in control of his actions or struggling with something far deeper. This latest episode has reignited public conversation around BJ Penn's mental health, particularly allegations raised in recent years that he may be suffering from Capgras syndrome, a rare and serious delusional disorder. Individuals with this condition often believe that their loved ones have been replaced by imposters. According to court documents, some of Penn's own family members have expressed these exact concerns and urged him to seek help, pointing to a potential link between the condition and prior brain trauma, something not uncommon in athletes who've endured years of physical punishment. The reaction from fans following the Instagram video was immediate and emotional. Comments on the post ranged from supportive prayers to heartbreaking pleas. One user wrote, "Brother, fight the demons, Jesus saves. Have faith." Another said, "It was never CTE. It was always ice," implying concerns about substance use. More direct messages followed, "Please call someone you can trust and tell them everything. I've been their brother, and it will get far worse before it gets better." Another user painfully admitted, "I'm in tears here, man. Go get some help." Others highlighted what they perceived as the damaging environment around him. "Get out of that house, man, or kick them out. That situation, whatever it may be, is not serving you. You can see that from a mile away." While the MMA world has long revered Penn for his fearless style and contributions to the sport, there is now an urgent call for intervention, care, and compassion. Fans aren't just remembering the fighter, they're pleading for the man behind the gloves to get help before things spiral further. As the community continues to react, one message is clear: BJ Penn is loved, and he's not alone. But the time to seek help may be now.